communist control of Vietnam created a limited rights culture which caused the difficult emigration of citizens across a tightly secured border. The citizens of Vietnam broke the barrier of communist rule by escaping to a refugee camp and contacting a sponsor.
Life in Vietnam was considered as hopeless, which urged the majority of the citizens to flee the country. They were able to escape by either plane if you had a sponsor or by boat if there was no sponsor. Although not all citizens were able to leave, the people that could leave hoped to be taken in by a refugee camp in Philippines, Thailand, or Malaysia. Depending on the camp, the refugees learned English, worked, and were interviewed to see if they are eligible to become a refugee and receive a sponsor. Once they have received a sponsor, they are able to transfer to their sponsor's country. Although the difficult experiences citizens of Vietnam face, they are able to adapt to a new environment and start a new life.
The Viet Cong was formed in South Vietnam after there was a new strategy to overthrow the Saigon regime. They were a communist party that converted the North Vietnamese government into enforcing communism. When they took over all of Vietnam, they made life very hard and miserable for those who did not support communism during the war or were not wealthy. Everyone was forced to work multiple jobs to support their family through this unfortunate time.
Lots of families decided to flee because of the way the government treated them. The schools in Vietnam taught the people that the United States had a bad influence on the citizens and took away their freedom. If your family did not have enough money, you were sent away to a village in the countryside, and it became mandatory for men to be part of the military. Since the government was brainwashing their citizens into thinking communism was good, people had thoughts of leaving their home country. Despite the fact that the Vietnamese government put in place laws that forced citizens to stay, many decided to risk their lives in order to escape. By doing so, they broke the barrier of communist rule. The citizens could not handle any more affliction, which caused them to come up with many strategies in order for the people to leave safely and uncaught.
Was we went to a small province in Vietnam, and there was a boat waiting for us, and we have to pay with gold. That's the type of payment that we have to do. And so we traveled on a small boat with about 300 or 400 other Vietnamese on a small boat. And so while we had to escape in the middle of the night, so no one knows.
For us, it's a few attempts, and basically most of the time we end up in jail. And for me at that time, I believe I was 12 years old or so, was end up in jail a few times. And the reason being in jail is we try to be part of the what would I say? We don't have much choices in picking who that we trust, and we end up the people that we shouldn't be judged, and they end up calling the police before we actually head out. So we got in jail about, like I said, about eight or 7 times. So lucky is the last attempt. That's where that we know somebody actually organized the trip, and that part of that trip is the families that who own the trip also want to escape, want to go at the same time. So that's where they organize it very well. So we end up tag along with them. So we successfully get out Vietnam.
Well, I left Vietnam in 1987. Most of the family was escaping 3 different times by boat. Some are older sibling able to succeed, and it's the same as how all the boat people been survive and came to the U.S. And then they sponsor us. Our family came by sibling and family, and then also part of our parent and uncle working for Department of Defense for the U.S. So they sponsor us. We flew to Thailand.
We tried it together as a family so many times, but it was unsuccessful. Either they scam us or the plan didn't work out. So my parents decided we have to split up the family. My dad took my brother and left the country with my brother, and he landed in Hong Kong.
Citizens of Vietnam overcame many obstacles attempting to escape from the suffering life they had. Knowing that they could die or get split up from their family, they risked everything to get out of Vietnam. Most groups were not able to escape the first time, but were determined to leave Vietnam. So not only they could have a better life, but also their family and future family too. There are different ways to flee Vietnam. Some people took a boat and went by water to the refugee camps, and others had a sponsor from another country, so they were able to fly out of Vietnam.
Although going south towards Malaysia was much faster, people that went south were more likely to be robbed and raped by the Thai pirates. However, if you escaped by going north towards China or east towards the Philippines, you were in a high risk of death. For the majority of the people, the boat ride was difficult. The boat was usually overcrowded, and the people were unable to move around. There was a limited amount of food and water, and there was little to no hygiene. Citizens escaped in the night, normally during a storm, because Border Patrol had a lesser chance of catching them.
We got to the island off of Malaysia, and then by the time we got off the ship, the boat, our boat sank, and then the Malaysians, they found out that there are people on the island, so then they brought their boat and brought us over to the refugee camp. And so
most of the time we're there, it's just basically fill out the time by talk to various people, embassies that sponsors refugees, and one of it is a representative from USA, and we be able to talk to them, and we have people in US to be able to sponsor us. So only, like I said, it's only take us about 6 months to get out of the country, out of Malaysia, get to the US.
So then we lived on the island for 8 months. The embassy, the people at the embassy finally gave us an interview. And because my parents worked with the Americans, so we had priorities. So then they interviewed us, we passed, and then we came over to America. The Kellys stepped up and helped us and gave my dad a car, a job at the church, and that's how we start our life in America.
Normal routine, just sitting there and patiently waiting to get your green card before you came to US. Then, because most of our family was actually over the age of 10, so we cannot go directly to US. We had to go to another refugee camp in Philippines, they called Bataan. We stayed there for about 9 months. The reason we stayed there is they want us to learn English. They want to teach us a skill and career, whatever you want to be, because they don't want us to be a burden for them when we arrive to the U.S. Some other time that we had time, it's a vacant land in Bataan, so we farm it. We plant vegetable, and we mix in with the food that they provide to a family member. So
Even though lots of people were able to escape Vietnam, not all were confirmed as a refugee and had to go back.
Không ngờ chị rớt thanh lọc rồi chị đòi tự giận, chị đòi chết. Chị xin bổ túc hồ sơ cho em chị, phỏng vấn viện Mainer. Ông hỏi chị là xin bổ túc hồ sơ mà có giấy xanh không? Giấy xanh là gì? Thì bạn chị mới nói giấy xanh là đô la. Giờ chị mới biết, thì lúc đó chị mới về thì chị mới gom góp tiền. Chị bán cá đồ này kia được, chị lo cho em chị. Lúc đó có 1.000 đô thôi, không nhiều. Nhưng mà nguyên cái đoàn tàu chị không ai biết là chị có cái số tiền đó để chị lo em chị. Tại năm đó 1.000 đô rất là lớn. Đối với những người mà không có thân nhân rất là lớn. Đến giờ phút này em chị cũng chưa có biết là chị lo thanh lọc cho nó nữa. Nhưng mà những người mà có thể là bạn chị, người ta chỉ nghi thôi, chứ người ta không có là chắc chắn 100%. Tại vì người ta đánh cái dấu hỏi là tại sao mà chị chủ phơm, chị rớt rồi mà người đi chung phơm với chị là được đậu lại. Bởi vì trong thời gian đó chị rất là lo sợ, chị không dám tiết lộ một cái gì hết. Tại vì khi chị bổ túc hồ sơ đó, luật sư nói với chị, mày về đây 3 tháng, 3 tháng sau em mày sổ kết quả thanh lọc lần thứ 2, em chị cầm giấy đậu rồi. Lúc đó chị mừng mà chị khóc. Chị khóc mà chị đứng khóc mà chị muốn xỉu luôn. Chị đủ tiền thì chị với em chị sẽ đi, nhưng mà chị không đủ tiền chị phải để cho em chị đi. Em chị đi được mấy tháng thôi thì văn phòng luật sư á, nó mới mời chị lên, nó nói là vậy, nó nói là bây giờ em của chị dưới minor dưới 18 tuổi thì nó sẽ được lãnh những cái người mà nuôi dưỡng nó, giống như bảo mẫu nó. Thì nó có khai Loca là nó đi vượt biên qua bên đảo là đi với chị. Thì mẹ chị và những người dưới 18 tuổi, em chị dưới 18 tuổi sẽ được bé Mỹ bảo lãnh đi viện đoàn tụ. Còn nếu mà bé Mỹ lãnh chị tại trại tị nạn thì chỉ có một mình chị đi thôi. Phía Việt Nam không được đi nữa. Thì lúc đó là 2 đứa em gái chị dưới 18 tuổi với mẹ chị. Thì chị suy nghĩ là chị đi quay về chị đổi được 3 người. Giờ chị tiếp tục hy sinh quay về một lần nữa.
Citizens of Vietnam broke the barrier of communism when they decided to flee the country. They risked their life in order to get a better life in another country where the government wasn't controlling and made life miserable. There were many hardships that the citizens encountered on their journey to America, but the outcome of the journey was worth them risking their life because now they have a life in America that allows them more freedom.